Alright guys, so this is going to be a bit different from my normal tech stuff. As you can see on my YouTube page, I have a 2006 WRX STi now. So I'm going to be installing a boost gauge and a wideband gauge for it once I get my downpipe installed with a bung in there. So I'm going to unbox the AEM Failsafe 304900. This is a boost gauge and a AFR gauge. So you can monitor both of those at the same time, and you can also set up a failsafe. I don't know who is at the door. You can set it up as a failsafe device so that either if your boost gets out of line, you can set up a failsafe method there, or if your AFR gets out of line, you can set up a failsafe for that as well. So whether that's cutting a boost controller, cutting a custom setting with your ECU, or however else you want to figure that out. Beyond my scope of intelligence. So you can see here, the faceplate here, there's actually a couple different faceplates that are included with this. This one is the AFR for gasoline. So the gauge is going to measure out, the gauge on the outside LEDs are going to measure your AFR, and then inside you can either do AFR again in big text from the OLED screen on here, or you can show boost. So let's go ahead and see how this unboxes. Hot fan soup. Okay, so we've got the whole wiring loom in there. Alright. And there's just the two brass, let's make sure that's in there, two brass fittings on there to keep it in place. And it pops out pretty nice. So on here you have your connections for data logging. This does have a USB port enabled or included, and then so one's for USB for programming and data logging, and one is going to be for I'm just pointing at these indiscriminately, I'm not sure which one's which yet, and then one is for your wideband gauge, and this of course is for boost. Let's see, set that aside here. So here is your wideband gauge. So this is going to run through your firewall and then through the length of your car to wherever your AFR gauge is. And that's just a that's a locking connector actually, which is pretty nice. Set that aside. This is your wiring loom and USB port for data logging, like I said, and configuration. There's some pretty cool software included through this, or with this, if you go to AEM's website. It is Windows only, no Mac client ever or yet, I'm not sure, but Windows 7, 8, and 10, that sort of stuff works. Super simple to install and get configuring. Let's see, and then that's great. We've got a bung included for your, if you have a stock downpipe and you want to add it, or if you have an aftermarket one that does not have a gauge for AFR, you can take this to a shop and have them welded on, or you can weld it on yourself. Or if you have like a Grimspeed one, a lot of them have, a lot of their downpipes have two bungs, one for your factory middle band or narrow band, whatever you want to call it, AFR for the ECU, and then they have a second one for an aftermarket gauge like this. And then you've also got some electrical crimpers here for the wiring that you're going to have to do. And the cool thing about this, I didn't read the instructables yet on this, but rumor has it you only need two cables to get this working. Just a positive 5 volts, 12 volts, 5 amps switched, and then ground, which is super simple. I might do an installation guide for this, I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Alright, in the rest of the box we have, gotta be careful with this. This is your actual wideband sensor, which hooks up to this guy here. So this is going to go into that bung that either the shop is going to weld on, you're going to weld on, or you already have installed, and that goes to the connector. Let's see, we've got some really high quality hosing here actually for running your boost line. You can see how thick that is. Kind of. Let me see if I can get that to focus. That's probably like 2 millimeters thick, I'd say. Alright, there we go. So really high quality hosing. In my car, one of the previous owners just used some simple like clear PVC or clear vinyl hosing. It's all yellowed because of how old it is. Definitely going to be replacing it with this. It's going to look a lot cleaner in the engine bay, and hopefully it'll hold up a lot more to the temperatures and that sort of stuff in there. Of course, you have an AEM sticker that adds, I believe on the forums they said 25 horsepower. Some people are saying 50. Not sure, but definitely be sure you get a tune for that sticker, and then take it to the drags and have fun with it. Alright, here's your other face plates. So AFR for gasoline. Let's pop these open. So there's duplicates in here. So each one is going to have a white faceplate and then a black faceplate. AFR gasoline, boost, inches of mercury and PSI, up to 30 positive and or plus and minus, positive and negative, whatever. White, same in black. This is just vacuum, so if you're naturally aspirated. And this is lambda or lambada or whatever, however you pronounce it. So this goes to 0.6 to 1.2. I am terrible with lambda. I do not know a dang thing about it. Here is some zip ties, it looks like, and then the rubber band for going around the outside of the gauge to reduce vibration and that sort of stuff, as well as, this is pretty cool here, a T-fitting for your boost line. I have 1 minute and 42 seconds before I run out of footage. This is a USB extension cable, so that way you can run this to your glove box or whatever, and it looks a little bit cleaner than this. That's pretty much it. USB extension. Let's see, instructables, a product guide, products that are engineered to outperform, with a little QR code in there and all your instructions for wiring and that sort of stuff. Be sure to read this back to front. Blah blah blah, legal restrictions, something about California being scared of cancer, blah blah blah. I don't know. I have no idea what the warranty is. Pretty good. AEM's been around for a long time. Yeah. That is unboxing of the AEM, what was it? 4900 Failsafe Wideband Gauge, boost and AFR. I'll see how the install goes, and maybe I'll make a video, maybe I won't, but definitely looking forward to installing this one instead of the analog boost gauge I have now, which just every time I tap it, the boost gauge or boost needle moves. So it also came with a different faceplate, silver versus black, so you can match up and color coordinate and do all that fun shit. Alright guys, thanks for watching and enjoy.